I got a question for you. Do you Glock?
I've got mine.
I've got mine.
I've got mine.
I got mine.
I've got mine.
I've got mine.
Oh, you know I got mine.
The way I see it, there's only two choices. You're either a hero or you want to die. Something's out there.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Replica Tactical Canada. My name is Jason. We're about to discuss the Glock, and more specifically, the Umarex Glock G17 Gen4. I'm going to give a little history on the Glock, talk some specs, and explain why I think you should own one of these for training purposes. So let's jump right into it. If you watched any video on the Glock, it always starts out with the company Glock was created in 1963 by a curtain rod manufacturer Gaston Glock. Now it's been said over and over for two reasons. One, because it's true, and two, because it's a strange connection between a curtain rod maker and a firearms giant. Whoever would have thought that type of segue? From home furnishings to semi-automatic handguns. In the 1970s, it was all about knives. Gaston Glock had figured out a way to create and work with ultra-hard steel, which he then created and supplied those specialty knives to the military. But by the early 80s, the Glock G17 was born, and in 1982, the patent came to North America and was registered with the US Patent Office. In that same year, Glock was also approved by the Austrian Army. It had beat out mainstays such as Beretta, Sig Sauer, H&K, and Steyr. Now the polymer and steel combination did not actually reach the North American shores until about 1986, and in just 3 short years, there had been over 350,000 Glock handguns sold in the United States. Various revisions and new generations came to pass, allowing for multiple caliber choices, sizes of frame, and in 1998, Glock came out with its Gen 3. They added a universal accessory rail for lights and lasers to be mounted right directly on the frame. Also, it added finger grooves and a thumb rest were introduced to improve the grip. 2009 brought the Gen 4, which added more customization to the pistol, with customizable back straps to accommodate any size hands. In the following years since then, they came up with multiple different options and platforms. Full autos, 380s, extremely small options like the G42. There's way too many to list, really. When most people think Glock, they think of the Glock G17. But in fact, it's not their bestseller by a long shot. The slightly more compact-sized G19 is the best-selling Glock of all time in North America. Okay, so let's talk about the specs of the Umarex Glock G17 Gen4. But first, as you can see here, this gun is fully field strippable. You remove the slide by pulling down on these tabs here while pulling the slide back. Then you slide it forward and voila, she comes off. The barrel and springs and everything does come out completely. It makes for very easy cleaning and maintenance of the innards of the gun. Let me put this back on and we'll get right to the specs. Slides on these rails right here. Bring it back, and she's on. Umarex claims about 320 feet per second, and of course that's going to completely vary as this is a CO2, and ambient temperature is going to cause the rate of the speed to fluctuate. When recording parts of this video on a 17 degrees Celsius day, I was getting an average of about 265 feet per second. I also live on a mountain at about 150 meters above sea level. That may also have some bearing on the slower speeds. Semi-automatic, full blowback action with this pistol. Gen 3 was known to have a very weak 3/4 blowback, and the slide springs on the Gen 3 was also nowhere near as beefy as them here in the Gen 4 setup. The power is generated through a standard 12-gram CO2 cartridge, which loads into a full metal dropout magazine. Make sure when you're loading your CO2, you use a drop of either Pell gun oil or silicone chamber oil. Screw it in. Don't screw it too tight. And she's charged. It's a very simple setup and easy to load. Pull down the spring here, there's a latch. BBs go into a hole here. This mag holds 18 rounds of 4.5mm BBs. I prefer the black diamonds over anything else, but I'm currently out of them and using the standard Umarex steel BBs right now. It features a 3.6-inch 91mm smoothbore barrel and 7.75 or 197mm in full length. And it comes in at about 1.7 pounds with a loaded magazine. A couple things I want to mention on this is it does come with these spare back straps. For people with larger hands like myself, I'm using this one currently. You can interchange them based on your favorite needs, or you can leave it completely out. The other thing is the accessory rail that's been designed by Glock. You can slide on a laser or a light or whatever suits your fancy. This gun does feature a fully working trigger safety. I'm not going to pull it obviously because I just loaded it, but it fully functions compared to the other versions of this gun that sort of function, but this one actually does function. And the trigger on this is much better than any other generation I've seen so far. When you rack it, it pulls it back, and during the semi-automatic action, it resets itself. It's much better than any other version that they put out so far. I asked at the outset of this video, but I'll ask it again right now. Do you own a Glock? Do you have a firearm or an air gun? Make sure to leave a comment below and let me know. I'm very curious. Now, as I said earlier, I wanted to talk about why I think you should own one of these air pistols. The realism of this Umarex Glock is second to none, especially this version. You've seen earlier in the video the racking of the slide, the magazine, the overall look, weight, and finish on this replica is amazing. I don't claim to be anything more than an airgun enthusiast, but they say those who can't play, coach. I'm just joking. What I mean by that is I'm not a competitive shooter, I'm not a trained professional, but I definitely can see the value of owning one of these and using it for your training. The cheapest box of 9mm rounds I can find in Canada are about 25 cents per shot. That's $4.25 per clip. The average training session is usually about 150 to 200 rounds. That's what, about 40 to 50 bucks per session? That's just ammunition alone. 40 bucks will have me shooting approximately 2,000 shots, which includes CO2 and BBs in this unit. Case closed. Thanks for watching, and make sure you check out the Legends Cowboy and Colt single action videos I recently did. There are two other great products also from Umarex. If you like what you've seen today, click the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified of all my future releases. Have a great day.